Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing.
Okay. It begins. And I'm not going to want the sweatshirt. All right. So, why didn't I take this off right before I pushed go? Anyway, yeah, so we can do a Q&A. I think I'll take my time kind of getting started because I don't know, kind of let people wander in as we go. And I have a few typed out questions too. But I don't even know what the system we're in looks like. So anyway, let's get a stage going. There's that music again. What? This is, I guess, Discord doing this? Okay, that's bizarre. I don't know why it does that. Ugh. That's so weird. Okay, whatever. Apparently, Discord plays music or something when I'm in the stage channel menu. Whoever thought of that is a moron. Like, why on earth would I be okay with that happening? All right, whatever. Chat window. All right. So we just moved systems shortly before beginning here. I don't know, should I be in open play? Run into people? I don't know. I guess I got no reason not to be. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'll switch. And then we'll go check it out. Very good. All right, so where we're going is right here. There, one jump. Easy. And I'm still running limpets, even though we're always at stations. So I think that's a good habit. Hey there, Caden. Thanks. How are you tonight? Right. Out and a half hour. Cool, cool. Alright, I haven't been to the system before. Looks like there's a ground base. Let's just slow it down here and take a look. Yeah, the attacked station is a ground base. Wow, there are no orbital ports in this system at all. Okay. Oh, hey Darth. Welcome then, welcome. Well, feel free to... where the hell's my mouse? There it is. Oh, for God's sake. Alright, you know what? Our first... Oh, never mind, scouts. I was about to say our first victim. I don't think so. Yeah, ground bases have their own little thing, although I have been wanting to add them to my chart, so I'm not super mad about that, but they do have their own idiosyncrasies, which is worth talking about as far as a, you know, helping people out is concerned, since they're touted as being easier, and I think that's basically true. Yeah, and then we had a question about the lack of swarm too. Alright, hold on. Oh, that was Grover. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so I have a stage channel going for questions if anybody wants to come in, or feel free to type them. Yeah, so let's go. Delaney Terminal. Well, there's Boobtron who had one question. You know what? I'm gonna... There, you got... Oops, going too fast. I invited you up if you want, buddy, but you're,
Hey.
Hey. Sworn to play Fest 50k? I had to take I followed a Medusa up 70k from a planet once, and then it swarm deployed.
I remember that.
So I thought that, I was going under the impression that that was the altitude, but the rules might be slightly different. Okay, so, hold on, I'm gonna review this, because you had a question. Okay. Boob was asking about shields. I'd like to know a little bit more about the dynamics of shield ramming. Okay, so there's like two parts to this. So that shield ramming versus shieldless, shield to hull damage, and then but then you're talking about damaging the shield of an interceptor. Is that right?
Yeah, you were talking about it, or thinking about the Vulture Knight, about using a Vulture as a
battering ram.
hard point.
Yeah.
That just got me thinking about, I know people do that with large ships.
Mm-hmm.
I've been fiddling a little bit with the 6-shard Anaconda just the last day or two, which of course I've been thinking about shields.
Well, okay,
Not that I would use one, but about how it works as a blunt object against them.
Yeah. Okay, so there's two things that are important about that. First of all, before we even get to Thargoids, and the first is is your pips. So system pips is a multiplier to shield resistances, and
right.
It's like an absolute resistance too. It's the overall shield strength, not like your thermal resistance or whatever. So, you know, if you're ramming into somebody, then you're constantly flipping pips back and forth, like I was doing on Vulture Knight. Like right before you make contact, 4 pips to systems, your shield is 2.5 times stronger. So that's important, and so that was why, like, when my shield eventually dropped, I just kept pushing it all the way down. Then suddenly I'm taking pretty significant damage that I can't heal in the Vulture. So basically, right. You want to ram happily as long as your shield is up. That's the only mechanic really when it comes to shields, as far as ramming is concerned. And I have no idea, like, if there's a difference in damage. I mean, sometimes I seem to take more damage than others for certain rams. I don't know if it's like multiplying based on our, relative velocity or something, or the mass of the two ships. Obviously, more massive ships do more damage.
Like the difference between the scale of the shields in terms of ability to inflict versus soak damage.
I kind of think that's probably the mass of the ship
or something, as opposed to like a bi-weave that'll, you could go in and ram and then recharge, as opposed to having to do the whole cold reboot thing or something.
Right, exactly.
To get your shield back up.
I feel like I would much prefer to be ramming in a bi-weave, but I think bi-weaves are basically better for everything. And I think it's probably the mass of the ship that decides how much damage you're actually inflicting. And maybe your speed.
I'd be curious about the overflow part of it. Like, how much of the momentum of the ship is disrupted by the failure of the shield, because it seems like it stops you sort of separately from. It's not like you don't have a secondary impact with the ship you're ramming if your shield breaks when you do.
Breaks in the middle of it. Yeah, there's probably not really a difference in hitbox. Yeah.
In which case you would not necessarily take a big hull hit when your lighter weight shield fails when you're crashing into a heavier shield. That's kind of what I would say.
Yeah, we're definitely at the edges of my experience with this. Like, I've really not.
And that's pretty inside baseball stuff.
Right.
That's more.
Right.
There aren't many people I would propose a scenario like that.
Yeah, but specifically with regard to Thargoids, I think you said you were finding that the shards didn't deplete the shield much, which I kind of don't get.
I mean, it might just be that I'm more aware of the cost of ammunition in them because I've been flying borks, as it were. So my limiting factor is not when my hull will fail, but when I will run out of ammo, and I'll usually get 2 or 3 repairs in a CZ before I finally run out of ammo and get reckless and get myself blown up. But also, before that, I'd been flying in a 3-shard crate with all 3 of them in the middle, so the convergence was really good, but then it had 1 beam turret and 1 multi-cannon turret, and was surprised by how quickly the combination of the beam and the multi-cannon brought down even larger interceptor shields. And without that, I noticed that it took a lot longer, even if I would hit them a couple of times. And on the Anaconda today, hitting 4 or even 6 at once rips the shield down pretty quickly. So it's probably not actually that the shards don't do so much as the DPS that you get from a turret is just so consistent that it's just always running it down. So, I think the time that would normally be in between shots, it's just grinding away.
That kind of makes sense to me. So here's the thing, so this is my shard. Does it tell me damage type? Breach damage type thermal. So in the game, all of the AX weapons, or I should say Gauss and shards, are listed as thermal. If I go to ED Shipyard, they do a more complicated breakdown. So they show me that this shard cannon is something like 60% AX damage and 40% thermal, but AX damage is not like a thing that is ever on screen in the game. Like, that text doesn't appear, right, as a stat. So and then plasma chargers are listed as absolute damage, which sort of makes sense, right? But within the game they're listed as absolute damage, but in ED Shipyard they are listed as like a 50-50 or a 60-40 of absolute and AX damage. And then likewise, I went and looked at the multi-cannons and the missiles, and those are kinetic and explosive. In the shipyard, I should say, kinetic and explosive, respectively, but it's split with that AX damage stat. So that's what ED Shipyard's doing. I don't know what their source is from that. It seems to me, or what I've always thought was, like, if I turn my AX guns on a human ship, they're going to behave as thermal damage, because that's what seems to happen, at least with Gauss and shards, which is all I've used very much. And then with plasma, it behaves as absolute damage, which is what it says here. When I look in the show info panel here, it says absolute, and that reflects, like, if I get, if gankers come in when we're fighting AX, plasma is the guns you want to have. because they know they're coming into an AX zone, so they've probably built their ships with like near 100% thermal resistance, and it makes them almost invincible to most of our AX guns, right? So it seems like that's what's going on. There may be a little more nuance there that I don't get, but I do know that Thargoid shields have the same resistance stats as a standard unmodified human shield, which means they're weak to thermal. So your beam, like as far as it you know, there's different DPS ratings, but like if you had a multi-cannon that was, or you had a beam laser that was exactly the same DPS as your AX multi-cannon, the beam should do more damage to the shield than the multi-cannon.
So that backs up your suggestion that the AX multi-cannons are more likely doing thermal damage against human targets, which would justify why they work well against shield.
Right. And I don't have one of those in front of me to look at in game, but yeah.
In my observation, it really seems like they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just seems like a size 3 just really seems to make short work of the shield in a way that I was not expecting.
Right. So like if a Thargoid shield has 100 hit points and you're doing 10 hit points per second, if it's a beam laser, you're actually doing like 12 because you have that weakness to thermal essentially. Whereas if it's a multi-cannon doing 10 DPS, then you're only doing the 10 to the shield. So at least that's what I seem to think. Was there a question in, oh god, there's a bunch of chat I was skipping. Oh no, this wasn't a real question. They're talking about Dubs and Chig. Okay, never mind. Carry on, gentlemen. Okay.
There was something else that I just reminded me of that Astro was talking about in his Plasma Crate little video from a couple of weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the damage from the cannons, the interceptor cannons, being caustic in some category. And that was part of what was behind him trying to min-max the caustic resistance on the hull reinforcement.
I have not heard that. I don't know where he got that. Caustic damage, to my knowledge...
Was like a journal thing? I think it was something like that he had seen, because I've never seen it in any explicit like context within the game.
Okay, so I might have this wrong, right? Because this is like, again, this is nuance that isn't printed in the game somewhere, so it's through experimentation. So if some real AXI ace came in here and was like, well, actually we researched this and you've got it wrong. But the thing is, you know, we don't really play with any of that stuff, without disrespect to Astro. Like that's kind of his bread and butter as a YouTuber that needs to make a lot of content. But I don't frankly see a lot of point to the messing around with trying to max your caustic resistance. You know, maybe that's going to change when I start trying to, if there's something inside the Maelstrom I actually want to go see, then maybe that'll change, right? But for now, I kind of don't care.
The impression from watching him that he approaches it as a like dedicated AX pilot. He's like a baseball stat guy who doesn't really play baseball.
Yeah, and he's making to, you know, whatever. He has his thing that's going on, but I don't think functionally there's a whole lot of point to that. I also don't like to make my ships nearly as heavy as he made that one. So I lean on module reinforcements because they're lighter than the hull reinforcements end up being once they're engineered. And so I end up flipping, and that's happened as I've gotten better at AX, right? As I've gotten more confident, I switch my ships around because I kind of don't care about hull damage anymore. Like I can repair that pretty easily.
Yeah, I remember a very clear progression, and part of it was, you know, being a couple of weeks behind you and Chig making the same kinds of decisions. But seeing that as I got more comfortable with the whole scenario, I was replacing hull reinforcements with module reinforcements.
And upping the size of my AFM and stuff.
Replacing the heavy-duty military armor with the lightweight military armor, because mobility just turned out to be more important. But the new stakes and the new rules of war are so different that, you know, it's a whole sloppy kind of, not in a judgmental way, but there's like a scrappy junkyard kind of AX fighting that goes on now that wasn't really the case when we were in the sort of trailing end of the pre-war era. You know, it was still that kind of clean textbook orthodox AX combat, not the throw everything you've got at them because there's a space station right there where you can repair, and don't carry
Right.
repair limpets because you can't buy limpets in the whole system, and all these things that have
And
kinda
also
changed
because
the
of the
space.
way that they're instantly hostile and stuff like that.
Right.
There's a few reasons why things have legitimately changed.
Which is, by the way, is pretty fucking cool.
It is,
Like,
and
the
you can
actual
still
culture
find
of
the
it,
old stuff
combat
too,
would be changed by,
if you
yeah,
go
yeah,
out for
sure.
it.
Yeah, I love that there's this whole like art form of a particular kind of combat that's changed
Right.
from like emergent properties based on game decisions, and yeah,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
pretty neat. All right, Jello put his hand up ages ago. My man, welcome. Good to see you again. What's up?
I can see you. You can't see me.
Well, good to see your avatar. Good to see your icon. Yeah. So what are you up to? I'm kind of playing, and then I've just been sitting still because we were talking, and the whole point of this was to answer questions anybody had about specifics and mechanics or any of that crap. Just because I've asked people and been asked to do it a few times.
I haven't listened fully to the last episode,
Yeah.
so I don't know if my topic came up that I dropped. It was all about pit management.
Oh yeah. Actually, no. So we meant to start going over some of those things, and we are storing away those like feedback request things.
Oh, that's awesome.
But we ended up talking about just the patch the whole time, and we went well over an hour. So we decided not to throw any of that stuff in. But yeah, pit management.
It's
Which-
more. The question I have is more, what does it affect when you go full? Like, for instance, if you go full pips and weapons versus, saying, having 2 pips and weapons, are you doing more damage, or is it just taking longer for that battery to run out so you can shoot more?
Right, so you're not doing more damage. Yeah, each capacitor has a thing that it affects besides just the capacitor's drain rate. So in weapons, how many pips are in it at the time that you fire changes how much heat the weapon dumps into your ship. So this matters
So
tremendously.
the higher is less, I
So the more drained the capacitor is, the less heat you'll get imparted to your ship by the guns firing. And so that matters a lot in AX, obviously. So if my capacitor is nearly full, I'll get a lot less heat. I don't know what the ratio is, but it goes up tremendously. If I have an empty capacitor with just enough for my 2 Gauss rounds and I shoot them, I'm going to be like overheating instantly instead of up at 40%, you know? And then... So you want to keep that up, and so that's why you're balancing that with like beam lasers, because those drain a little bit. So you have to be using a beam laser with enough pips that whatever size laser that is not going to be depleting your capacitor, or you won't get the cooling. And then if we're doing the thing like somebody, Darth was mentioning earlier, asking about a build that could go without heat sinks, which I have done. You have to be super careful with it, and I still occasionally would use heat sinks, but in a ship like the Krite, where it's like really has a giant distributor, the size 7 distributor, I could get away with it a little bit using a turret beam laser, by the way, because I could, even when firing, as long as I was careful, I could get away with it. And now I was using plasma, which plasma is a little bit of a trick, because it drains your capacitor not when it shoots, but when it charges. And it dumps heat when it shoots. So you can drain the capacitor, let it fill back up, and then release the shot, and that's when the heat comes, when the capacitor is at 100%. So it's a little sort of sneak attack to get the... Where's my night vision? There we go. To get the heat to be all spread out so you can kind of manage that. But anything with a smaller distro doesn't work. And then the other things about pip management, or the pips, is let's see, so engines. Your main thrusters max speed, and I think the thruster power itself is limited based on your engine pips. So like right now, if I look at like where my blue zone is, as I move pips out of engines, the blue zone drops down to a lower that's, you know, my 50% is moving lower on my throttle, basically. And if I fill it back up, it moves back up because my ship has the capacity to go faster. It doesn't change your top boost speed, but it does change your top non-boost speed, depending on where your pips are in the engines, right? And different ships are affected more or less by that. Like these sea ships, like Chieftain, this is a Challenger. They're really, really forgiving about not having a lot of pips in engines, whereas famously the FDL, if you have anything less than 4 pips in engines, it's super sluggish to turn. You basically have to boost turn or you get nowhere, is the conceit of that. And then the systems capacitor, like we were saying earlier, I don't know if you were here, but your shield's overall strength is directly impacted by pips and systems when you get hit. Up to 2.5x bonus if you have full pips and systems when you take a hit. It's like an absolute resistance, which is a lot and should not be trifled with if you're doing combat that has a shield.
What about repair functions? Any effect on that?
It's just whether you have any capacity in it. So if your shield is recharging from broken, it will drain your capacitor, and as long as the
like AFMU or repair methods.
It has to have something in it to use. Like I'm actually not sure if AFM drains your system's capacitor, but like your countermeasures do, and your shield does both when it's recharging. So if it ever empties, then your recharge stops until you get more energy in there, right? So, but as long as there's any energy in the system's capacitor, your shield will recharge at whatever its rate is.
Cool. Awesome. I've been playing forever and I just never thought of the weapon one. The other one is pretty, like, you can just experiment and figure out what it does, but the weapons one, something just...
Yeah, it's hard to figure out.
Oh, it does more damage when it's full. It's like,
no. The only weapon really where you can impact the damage is like the plasma charger, right? Because you hold it down to charge up, and like that's a weapon where you can charge it more slowly if like if you run out of systems energy.
The fast ones.
Sorry, say again?
That's such a nice way to because if you're used to fighting with Gauss cannons, you have to time, you really have to time when your crosshair is going to be in the right place for when it goes off. Yeah. But plasma, if it's charged, you just release it when it's ready.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it is, I love the guns right now because there is that rock, paper, scissors. Like, there's something you're giving up with each of these guns. I'm really personally landing on shards being my preferred AX gun. But there's something to be said for all of them. Like, Gauss still has that precision. You're doing 100% of that damage. You don't have to worry about spread. Like, even though shards have a range of the fall off doesn't start till 1.5 kilometers, its spread is kind of significant by then. So if you're trying to bullseye a heart, you usually want to be closer.
But then you gotta be able to catch up and get it.
Right, exactly. And then Gauss, you have that timing issue, the difficulty, basically the added difficulty of the timing. But you have higher armor penetration for it, and you have that precision, right? You bullseye it, then that's it. It took all 40 points of damage, or 38.7, or whatever it is. So the damage per second from Gauss versus shards is roughly half for the same size gun, but are you doing 100% of that damage against a heart with shards? Probably not. Against the main body, probably you are. So it's, they each have sort of advantages. And then plasma, you do have, it's a differently difficult trigger pull kind of timing. You just have to know to time it ahead of time, but you do get that release, so you can hit the timing perfectly. And then really the only downside to plasma is that shorter fall off of 1 kilometer, which does kind of hurt when you're trying to keep up constant damage on a basilisk or something and it's running off on you. But they'll have something to say. And being able to spread that heat out with plasma is really neat too. like I said, because you can charge it and then release it later once your capacitor is filled back up, and oof, really low heat when you do it that way.
I tried using plasma before there was modified, and it was just so slow. I just gave up.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah, the shot speed. Oh, he got me. All right, so we're caustic. Might just let that other missile hit me, for God's sake. Anyway, yeah, the unmodified other guns are so silly. The shot speed was awful and whatever. And that's why the Goss got a raw deal when it got modified. It got turned into garbage. It looks cool, but that's it. Because they added that nearer fall off, is really the thing. Without that, they probably would be fine.
So in that case, the reason people use the undercharged plasma to generate heat to burn off caustic is because the distro hasn't recovered from charging the plasma in the first place, and that's why it generates excess heat?
Yeah, you're also firing it more often, right? Because you're not waiting the 2.3, what was it, 1.7 seconds? I don't know what it is to achieve full charge. But it seems to me like you get the full heat no matter how much you charged it. So pop, suddenly you've dumped a ton of heat into your ship all at once. Right.
If you've just charged it, your distro is going to be drained, which should give you measurably more heat.
Yeah, but if you just like tap that button 3 or 4 quick times, it's a massive amount of heat.
Yeah, that's a good point either way.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I always forget how much ammo the plasmas have because I don't usually use them. I'll swap them on or something, and I'm like, how many hundred shots? What?
Yeah, plasma has tons of ammo. It's nasty. Okay, MechFet in chat. I wasn't meaning to ignore you. We were just talking about other stuff. This is a question about CPUs. 12500K versus the AMD version. I don't know, man.
The AMD version that he's.
Yeah, I mean, is 12500K? Do you mean 12600K? I don't know about a 12500K. Oh, that's bored. What's my thought about him? PC building, honestly, like, what's going on right now is...
I can throw in on that.
I mean, AMD's build cost is still too high right now.
Any processor that you throw in a machine, they're all 6-core or better, so you're not gonna be at this.
Yeah, I mean, it's... oh, shoot, I'm gonna hit the ground. Almost. Saved it.
AMD's motherboards are still a little expensive now.
Yeah, AMD motherboards are... It's the whole platform cost for AM5 right now is still a little iffy. It's on its way, but, I don't know. I have an AMD... I have a Zen 3 chip in this one. I have a 5800. It's still very good. I'm a long way from needing to buy something. The, that was gonna get me. Oh, it missed me.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
for the next 2 years instead of buying.
Sorry, Jello, you're really quiet. Are you far from your mic, man?
No, but I
keep talking over you by accident. Oh, we just got past the scout phase and I didn't even hardly kill anything. 500,000. All right, we're gonna have interceptors. All right, let's see what we get.
500,000. What's your prediction? What are you gonna get?
At a ground base, I think I get 2. But I don't remember. And I also don't know yet if they're all the same. Is that one over there? I think that's one. There's 1, 2. I see 2 interceptors. Oh, 3. There's 3. There's another one below me. Yep. Alright, so I'll note that on the chart. Ground base. 500,000, and you get 3 interceptors on the first wave. I was gonna say the Intel graphics is starting to turn into a thing for at least the kind of mid-range entry-level kind of zone. especially if you're into content creation. But still growing pains on that, but it's nice to see them moving on it. These all could be Cyclops. Unfortunately, we're in the dark, so I can't tell. You're off by yourself.
You don't need no stinking sensor. Just
Yeah,
scanner.
I don't carry a scanner. I just much prefer heat sinks. Alright, I think I have this guy's
Especially
attention
now you
here.
get 5 of them.
So you know what I think is interesting about this whole, I think this was another question, I think by Lark, that people have come to the conclusion that fighting at ground bases is easier because there aren't swarms. And I think this might be a basilisk. I think that's kind of correct, but the gravity matters. I mean, we have like 0.7 G here at this planet.
Yeah, I was at a 1.7 last week. It was a nightmare. I was like, man,
No, that's the Cyclops.
1.7 is a lot of gravity.
Yeah, I mean that's huge, and it
I mean, really,
matters.
it's
Like so, when I'm trying to when I'm trying to orbit the.
off here.
Oh, sorry. See, I'm talking over you again.
That's okay.
You guys, I need to turn you up in my.
How's my
headphones
mic
here.
now?
Oh, that sounds much
Still
more
quiet.
normal, Jello.
Yeah,
It's still a
it
little
was-
quiet, but it sounds much closer.
It was running off my webcam for
Oh,
some reason.
Well, that's,
Now
well, yeah, that is a lot better.
back on the boom mic.
all right, good. Yeah, I just think I find orbiting to be more difficult, and not only just I don't mean just because you're avoiding the ground, but because you know my ship behaves differently depending on which way I'm trying to thrust. You know, I have less power to move myself if I'm going in the opposite direction of gravity, right? And that matters, I've found, when I'm trying to chase, especially if I'm trying to chase down something fast like a basilisk. So I'm not totally convinced. I think Lark's question, I'm not gonna go read it right now, but I think it was more to do with like, maybe I should just read it because I'm gonna misquote him here. They say,
Where's he
why do people
asking?
make such a
I
big
can-
deal about PlanetSide when the swarms can be ignored? Oh, I see what's going on. So kind of what Lark is saying is that we ignore, you know, I ignore the swarm anyway. Like I don't ever bring flak even when I'm fighting a Thargoid solo. Now, most people don't use flak when they're fighting in a conflict zone because there's just too much going on. It's not chasing you most of the time, so it's really hard to shoot down anyway, and they ignore it. But, you know, even though I'm ignoring it, the swarm is a significant source of damage, or at least a danger.
I think part of it though is that you're speaking from a level of competence that not every AX pilot has, because I know for a fact you're not ignoring it. You know,
No,
you're
right.
aware
I'm
of it
not
like the
killing
weather,
it.
so you manage not to get in front of it. You don't confront it, but I think you know, once you learn to avoid it, it stops being a major issue. So the fact that it would be a point of contention for people seems kind of foreign. You know, it's like, why is it such
Right.
a big deal if it's not a big deal?
Yeah,
Once
I mean,
it stops being a big deal, it's not a big deal anymore.
so
I
it's
think
like
it's worse.
if
It's worse now because it's quite often you've got 3 interceptors, so you've got 3 swarms. At least one of them is a major swarm from something bigger than a Cyclops.
well, not always. I mean, I think we have 3 Cyclopses. I mean, a lot of these instances are only producing Cyclopses for me still. I think I got 2 Thargoids to follow me here.
There's definitely kind of a sucker punch vibe that comes with getting ambushed by a pissed off swarm that sticks in your memory
Yeah.
and makes it feel like it's a really big deal. Because when it happens, it really
Well,
sucks.
see, I was kind of arguing that I do think the swarm's a big deal. I mean, in most Thargoid fights, the most dangerous thing is the swarm. Like, when you make a mistake and start taking damage, like, unless it's a Medusa or a Hydra and you're actually just taking main cannon damage, most of the time when people get caught off guard by something, it's that they got hit by lightning, but the damage is coming from the swarm. You know, if you get hit by lightning and you get ringed and then you get missiled, the swarm missiles are devastating. Especially because we don't fly with a shield most of the time. Shields are pretty effective against swarm missiles, but that's about the only thing they're effective against in this, and we just don't carry them for all the other reasons. So,
Yeah, and the damage from the interceptor is kind of linear. You know, it's like you know how much damage you're going to take, and so you soak
Yeah.
it a bit, you evade it a bit. But when you get on the wrong side of the wrong kind of swarm. It just,
Right.
you know, you get hit by 20 or 30 things at a time, and it just wrecks you.
Yeah,
so,
when it catches
so like
Either
here, I'm
rocket
screwing up my
or
orbit
takes
right now
you
because
entirely.
of the stupid planet. I couldn't line that up right. My insertion's all wrong, but it's a Cyclops, and I just am not bothered, right? Because it's just not a danger, and I don't take any damage. But like, the insertion was harder here, so there's give and take, I guess. And I think the swarms are legitimately dangerous when they are there. That makes orbital insertions weird because like if it's there, especially if it's a big swarm from a Medusa or a Hydra, it's giant, and if it gets in the wrong spot, I mean, you should probably scuttle your attack run and move around and try to reposition, and it's not always easy to get to where it's not between you and the Thargoid. So, you know, that can be tough, and if you're not in a place where you can soak a little bit of swarm damage in order to get into position, then you know you can be in real trouble. So it is give and take.
It doesn't help that the flak and the reticle with regards to the flak and the swarm is such a bananas kind of interface. You know, it's one of those of those Elite Dangerous things where the mechanic is so kind of weird and stilted that everything about it ends up feeling more difficult than it should. I think the shard forests and the heat map are kind of the same way. Like the heat map for finding things on the surface is so weird and monochromatic that people think it's just a whole big confusing mess and they don't want to deal with it, when in reality once you get used to it, it's not really any harder, and it's arguably more immersive and realistic than it was before. But the actual game mechanic behind it is just weird enough that people see it and they're like, oh my god, I just can't. Especially in AX combat, which is so full of like you know, situational saturation. There's just a lot going on, and so you throw in something that is big and dangerous and confusing, and you feel like maybe you should be doing something about it, but then you try and do something about it, and it turns out to be even harder and weirder and makes you feel incompetent. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of why we don't. But
Yeah, I mean, I sucked at shooting the swarm down to begin with. Like, I struggled to get like a basilisk swarm dead in one ammo load from my flak launcher. And I just moved on with my life. I was like, I want to kill a basilisk. This is like a long time ago. I want to kill a basilisk. Oh, let's just not do this. It turns out if I'm actually orbiting right, it sort of encouraged me to learn to orbit right in the first place, which I also wasn't doing to begin with. I was kind of just like doing whatever and not getting like a proper corkscrew.
Just easier to get out of the way.
Yeah, 3 swarms are causing me to get missile locked endlessly. Yeah, that's a problem. When there's 3 swarms and they're close enough together that you're possibly taking missiles, it's because the NPCs are usually like activating them or agitating the swarm, I should say.
Yeah. And the NPCs have gotten good enough to start exerting and even knocking off one heart, and that just makes everybody that much more pissed off.
Yeah, like this, we just missed an exertion, at least one exertion on this guy. So,
Trax, why are you double beaming on this? Because it doesn't stack, right? Your thermal dissipation does not. It does.
Of course it does. Oh yeah.
I thought it doesn't.
Okay. So let's talk about beams. So, AXI's recommendation is gimbals or fixed. Usually gimbals, because they don't. You know, unless you're able to use fixed, because those produce more heat, and the beam dissipates exactly the heat that it produces. As long as your capacitor is full, that is, because of course if your capacitor starts to drain, then it's imparting more heat than it's actually generating from that multiplier we were talking about earlier. So, but anyway, I like turrets because they actually have a better heat to energy ratio, in the sense that they do less damage and produce less heat, but they use way less energy, and it's not like a linear slide down the scale either. They use significantly less energy, so I can keep my capacitor more full. Now I have gotten in the habit, you know, for a while I was in the habit of leaving the beam on when I attack. It's definitely something you can do in a Krite or something else with a size 7 distro. But it's harder. I actually can do it in the Chieftain too, but that's because it has smaller guns, and this guy has bigger guns, so I need to turn it off, or my guns deplete the distributor enough that I'm gonna kill this part.
So
The-
maybe
the-
for redundancy's sake, you go with 2 size 1s instead of a
Well,
size
one
2.
size 1
Oh,
I
because you
find
need the
isn't
bigger
enough
hardpoint.
to effectively keep me cooled while I'm boosting. Okay, so it'll keep me cooled if I'm just like sitting there. It's sort of like the way you see people who are doing like expert solo Thargoid fights use a beam, like the typical AXI meta build, right? Is the chieftain with flak, they're going to destroy the swarm, and then they are going to put their fixed beam on, and as the Thargoid, the orbital insertion for that style of combat is like this. Like the Thargoid's following me. Oh, we're going to have a surge here. The Thargoid's following me. Oh, that was a new Thargoid. That wasn't this one at all. Never mind. Now, see, I'm letting my capacitor drain. You could hear the weapon. If you're watching the stream, you could hear my beams start to make that horrible sound, and they stopped cooling me quite as much. But I fixed that. So, I'm forgetting what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I'm gonna let if we're doing this solo and there wasn't something to distract the Thargoid, I could, do the whole thing. I do my repairs, I kill the new swarm, and then I'm basically flying backwards and letting the Thargoid follow me. And when I'm ready to attack, I slow down to around 250 meters a second and let the Thargoid catch up, and then I start giving myself like a sideways motion. Now they can they can be doing a beam the whole time they're letting the Thargoid catch up to them and have it be a fixed beam, and that works fine. I really prefer the... Oh, shoot. No, you don't. There we go. You can... okay, so instead of doing it like that, I can use turrets. 2 of them. I'm not firing any guns right now. I've only got 2 pips and weapons, and that's not enough to drain my capacitor. Right? Okay, here's the surge. So that's not enough to drain. If I have less than 2 pips in weapons, it will start to drain, and then I won't cool as much. But with at least 2, which gives me 4 pips to engines, so I can effortlessly boost around and let's look. I have a little bit of heat here that I'm slowly draining down. So we're back down to 0. If I boost, I got up to 3, 5, and this is in a Challenger. So it stays absolutely at 0 if I'm flying a Krite. And that shield down so I can smoke in. So at this point...
That was part of my problem in Chieftain. I run hot in the Chieftain because I fight like it's a Krite. And it only has a size 1. It only has a size 1 thermal vent.
Yeah. So with the Krite, I have a size 3 turret, and because it's a turret, it doesn't use that much energy. The firing arc is really, really good. It works out really well. I've found. But with the Chieftain and this Challenger, I'm using 2 size 1s. They seem to do me really well. I have tried it in a Diamondback Scout. That one is pretty tricky. You actually have to have 3 pips in weapons to be able to fire both size 1 lasers, but there's no room in the power plant for any more non-laser guns, so I just let it go. But different ships, I had an FDL set up, and that had a size 2 turret. That one's really close to the line. It can't really get me to 0, but it stays under 20 even when I'm boosting. So that's, tricky. You got to be a little bit careful, and the FDL is kind of a hot box, so makes sense, I guess. But yeah, that's my
Okay, cool.
my
So
story.
you can stack thermal vents. For some reason,
Yep.
I read it somewhere that you couldn't or something.
I mean,
I just
where
had
it's-
that impression.
Where it's going to bite you is if you put so many of them on at the same time that they start to drain your capacitor. If I can't do it without 4 pips and weapons, I'm going to struggle, because when I go put all pips and engines to try to dodge missiles or something, I'm going to start to heat up if I'm not managing to stay out of the range. I mean, you can do this without a beam if you wanted to, like that works. Oh, I only have 3 heat sinks left. I'm gonna before I engage this guy, I'm gonna land.
Yeah, if you wanted to have a heatsink party, sure.
Well, it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. That's what you do. If if
what I've been
if
doing
you're
last
fighting in
couple
small
weeks.
ships, if you don't have room for a beam, in Eagle or something, that you can do those fights. You just use all heat sinks. You don't have room for a beam. You're bringing all your firepower. So beam is just convenient for conflict zones because you're going to be out here a long time and you would like to be able to just chill and stay cold. So instead of here's the other thing. Conflict zones, you're not just running away in a straight line because it's not a solo fight. You're staying near the object. And because you need to stay near the object, you got to fly in a circle around the thing, keeping it sort of local instead of just flying away. So if you're doing a solo fight in an Eagle or something, you just fly away. Make sure you're outside of 3 kilometers whenever you're not attacking, and then you're good. There's really not a strong need for a beam in that case.
So when I've been doing the 5 shard crate the last week or two, it's much more like a World War II dive bomber kind of approach. Like I'll hang at a distance until somebody's shield is down, then come in and wallop on it, then go flying off in search of somebody else whose shield is down until the next one, kind of ping pong around like that. Because I can't really justify burning the heat sinks to stay cold. They end up being more, pop one to get in, and then maybe usually don't need one to recover after the fact. But I'm surprised by how much one heat sink will cover firing full clips with 5 shards. I might end up at 105 or 120 or something like that, but it's not the 1,000,000% that we were predicting everybody would be getting as soon as the stabilizers came out.
Well, so that's fine, like you said, as long as you're not the focus of if you don't have aggro, then you're okay. And I'll do that too. Like if I'm fighting in a group and there's stuff going on, I don't have aggro, I don't pop the heatsink until the Thargoid faces me. And likewise, you figure out this timing to, if the Thargoid is facing you, like if I'm starting an orbit and I'm coming in, how long have I been within range? Because I can orbit with the laser within range basically indefinitely. So maybe he's been shooting at me for a while and he's about to do his reload animation. Well, I don't want to fire my heatsink then because it's kind of a waste. I'm going to end up like doing a angled boost toward him or something to get back in range. And so I kind of think about that. Sometimes I wait until he does a reload and then I'll do the orbit insertion.
And that's all stuff that's so hard to keep track of. I mean, it's such a foreign, the whole experience.
And I mess it up all the time
because you've got these circular ships. It's like it takes a good long while to have any sense of what in the world is going on while you're there. If you can get a heart facing you at the right time, then you're in great shape. Like actually, like the first couple of times I did it, seeing and watching what was going on and hearing you guys talk about what was going on, I had no clue. That you would be describing phenomena that meant nothing to me, and I could see nothing visual in the sensors or the vehicle.
It's pretty funny the level of task saturation that you get used to, and then you just find more details and your timing animations and stuff like that. When you first started, you're like, how am I ever going to manage all this stuff? And you build muscle memory.
That's true.
It's like real pilots. You just do things until it's second nature, and then you move on to something more advanced.
All right, so I'm looking at Twitch. Okay, first of all, yes, we're in open.
Get him.
And somebody else is. Oh, that's a Corvette. That's interesting. All right, so I'm in open. Okay, Piranhas versus Goids. Yeah, we did a Piranha night. I picked a Diamondback Scout. I think it's outstanding. It's like a mini Chieftain. The flight model is fantastic. Highly recommend. Killed a Medusa with it, among all the other things. So this was bad. What I just did was very bad. But his lightning isn't online yet. And okay, what's the reload animation? You know what? Let's do that. So this Thargoid is following me, so he's shooting at me right now, and I'm just sort of flying in. I'm down thrusting and to the left because his engine trail is going to the left. So I'm creating kind of a corkscrew that he's having to turn in 2 axes and move toward me to keep up with me. Now his engine trail turned. He's trying to catch me going backwards. That right there. That's the reload animation. So he turns away. He's been firing for however long it takes for him to run out of ammo, and he turns away. Now, I angled my ship down and boosted toward him because I don't want to go directly toward him. And I'm going to run this surge in case I get hit by it, and I definitely would have, so that was good. Okay, so, and now I'm a little bit, not at the right speed, but I kind of want to refill my capacitors here. So we can even do it again. So again, I'm thrusting down and to the left, following his engine trails, and as he turns, I'm going to keep my ship angled so that it's still going off to the left. He turned a little bit there, now he turned back. They're trying to trick me into flying straight backwards, and there's the reload animation. So that's about how long it's going to take, and I angle down and boost because I don't want to go directly toward him, but he is going away from the planet, and so I am having to keep up a little bit. So this time, let's actually attack. Now it's to the left. I'm kind of in the wrong angle, but the planet's fighting me, so I'm just going to go for it anyway. So we're going to switch, heat sink, and start attacking.
All right, thanks, Trax. Thanks, guys. Good chat. I gotta go join the
Jello.
real world.
All right. Hey, good talking to you, man.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, see you. And yeah, that was a Cyclops, so that was a very fast attack run, but anyway, yeah. That was a pretty typical orbit, and right now he's doing lightning because that was his first heart, so he's all glowing yellow, and he's gonna go full speed at me for the whole entirety of the sleep phase, which I believe is like 45 seconds. And he's thinking of nothing else than to shoot me with the lightning, so I'm trying to thrust backwards. They are slower when they turn than if you let them go in a straight line. So that's why I'm kind of swinging around past him and making him turn, because that's going to make him slow down. And then I don't have to run as fast. And now his lightning's over and he started shooting the main cannon again. So that's the end of that sleep phase. And at this point he's shot a little bit. Okay, there, the shield went down. I probably have time, because it's the Cyclops, to go in and get a heart before he reloads, so I'm just going to go and do that. I was actually slowing myself down a little bit to let him catch up. And let's do this thing, starting on the left. Oh, so he got distracted by somebody else, so I'm going to boost kind of around him. Come on, blow up. There we go. So I said starting on the left because that was, I have my triggers split for the shards, so that I can fire one, I can deplete all 5 shots out of one magazine and then switch to the other one while the first one is reloading, and then I have basically constant DPS from that, if I do it right. So whenever I switch to that fire group, I'm going to look. See, I've got the same setup again. I've got 4 rounds in the left side gun, my secondary trigger, and all 5 in the right. So I start with the one that has fewer in it so that it will empty, and I'll have a full one left over. And I need to start my lasers again. So I have my lasers on, because they're turrets, I have them on my target only mode. So I still have to pull the trigger each time I switch to that fire group, but after that they track on their own. And they'll even shoot backwards, which is great when I'm running away. And I think Darth made it over here. I saw white lasers down there, so somebody else is here. And for some reason, I just got paid for a scout. Oh yeah, I see him now. And he's been talking and, oh, 2 jumps out. Oh, never mind. So that's somebody else down there then. Somebody with 3 white lasers. There's a new Thargoid in town. 3 is more than I would recommend. Because it would drain your capacitor more than... But I mean, you know, you can manage it. Just depends on the ship too. If they have some giant ship down there with room for 3 lasers.
One of the things that I kind of came to terms with when learning from you guys, doing my own kind of experiments, you know, because you do, was just that the sort of meta approach is based on optimum DPS, and for a long time I didn't have the aim for optimum DPS. I just was not finding myself in. So
when you say that, are you talking about the 2 pairs of Gauss? Like
no, not that trick. Just the sequence of only firing under heatsink, basically, or almost only firing under heatsink. So if in my case as more of a beginner, I don't get all the opportunities to shoot that I would like because I just can't keep up, or I don't get lined up with the heart in time. And I don't need to
falling in
fire
and out of range.
exclusively. Yeah, I don't need to fire exclusively under heatsink because I'm not able to pull off 5 Gauss shots on target in a row.
Right.
So in that case, that's where you get experimenting about, well, can I get a little more passive cooling from the vent beam? Do I not need to use so many heat sinks? But once I got in the position of, I know I can hit this target, especially after switching to shards, I can hit this target 5 times. There's nothing that 11 vent beams wouldn't do me any good at that point. And so if you're going to unload, you really just have to drop a heat sink, and then you can pump a ridiculous amount of heat into that ship, and it'll all just go right out the back end. But if you're taking 1 or 2 shots here and there, you could sit at 1 3/4 kilometers and orbit with a vent beam and shoot a Gauss every 7 to 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that, and keep yourself cold enough that he wouldn't see you, but you're never going to exert or bust a heart on a Bassi or a Medusa that way. Just because you can't do enough damage fast enough, and that's where you actually need to really only fire with the heat sink first.
Right, and it's when the cannon's actively firing at you, and you can do that experiment. Like, I mean, I could show that too. I could have a heat sink going and just be firing, and then we'll just let it go. We won't fire it. And the moment that heat sink runs out, those cannon shots, you can see them just angle over slightly and start hitting me. These all being Cyclops, it wouldn't be very dramatic, but if we find a Medusa in here and you could fire too fast. I could do both triggers at the same time, and it would cause a heat spike that would be enough to put me at like 25 or 30%, and I would go boom, I would take 5% damage right in that moment, and then it would drop back down and I would stop taking damage, because I'm still moving.
It also comes out, I think part of it is to how you're moving relative to the interceptor, that if you're still learning how they move, I think you're more likely to find yourself in a jousting position.
Yeah,
and if
exactly.
you're jousting, the heat you've spiked isn't as important because, generally speaking, you end up behind it on the tail end. So you've generated all this heat at the same time you've gone out of its firing line. And then you have, 90 seconds to get to 3 kilometers, and then you pop a repair limpet, and then you sit and chill and wait for the shield to go back down. And it's very different.
Well, assuming you've heard it, the trouble with that, though, is in jousting, you might not even actually get the heart killed or exert the heart, if you can't maintain that constant damage. So
yeah, especially something like Gauss that don't fire as quickly, it's a lot harder to race past and do a bunch of damage. You have to sit at a more moderate distance. But with something with a quick trigger like the shards, you really can cruise in, unload a whole bunch, do a bunch of damage, maybe get the heart, maybe not, and then pop a heat sink and hope you haven't cooked your more robust modules. You lose your super cruise assist or landing, your aero hatch, something like that. Most of the actual important modules seem to be more durable to heat, as far as I can tell. Although the guns cook themselves, which is not great.
The guns cook themselves, which sucks. I hate having to do that. And if you dump your limpets, that's not great either. We have repairs here, but I like to have good habits. Even, basically, all my ships are still loaded out to fight them solo or in open space if I need to. I think it's just good.
And I've been doing more sort of deliberately sloppy as kind of a drunken master experiment sort of, and keep being surprised by how little damage is being done to my module reinforcement, and that most of the damage that's being done to my modules is self-inflicted. And
wrong side.
I would not argue that it is good tactics, but it is interesting experimentation. And every fight is one more fight you got on me about.
Yep. Playing like me, drunken master. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is you can do that, and especially in these kind of the conflict zones where you can drop and repair or something, or if you're in a group and you can just afford to explode. I mean, like it or not, it's a video game, and that's a legitimate way to put up a shitload of damage. It's not the way to, solo a Medusa probably, but
yeah, I mean the big difference I think is the durable instance. You know, it's like if
Yes.
if it's just you and them in space, the second you're dead, it's over and you gotta start from scratch again another time. You know, with at least one other person somewhere in the instance, you could do half a dozen rebuys to kill your first basilisk or your first Medusa, and it's still it's still awesome and still killing your first bat or your first Medusa, but doing it in the vacuum where one false move means you gotta put in another quarter and start over.
Start again.
It's just a different experience entirely. Which again is pretty cool with that variety of ways to interact with this kind of big boss monster.
All right, Audaxius. What's up?
Sorry, I'm late, guys.
Not at
The one and
all.
only.
Did you?
Did the Thargoids win?
They've not won yet. I'm still holding
yet.
out. But did you
You
have
heard your voice in
a?
a rally.
You had asked some. Did you ask a serious question earlier in the chat, or were you just saying
No,
you were
it's-
gonna just waste, or you were gonna fill time? I don't mean to say waste time.
I will waste your time with a serious question.
Well, then it's not a waste.
No, it is the basically heat sinks, right?
Heat sinks,
I've
am I right?
I've never gotten in the habit of using them other than like I am taking fire and need to cool off quickly. I've never used them on attack runs. I don't know why. It bugs me that I have to synth a material mid-fight. So I'm just like, and not having the materials to synth heat sinks be a reward from AX combat. It's just this thing where I like a closed-end game loop. But I can manage well enough in group combat without. So I guess like, what is that meta with
Speaking
heat sinks
of heat
other
sinks,
than
I'll refill.
yeah? Speaking of heat sinks, like yeah, what's the thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
So once, as I was saying a second ago, I like to have good habits.
Yep.
And we were going to crash into the ground, so we're going to do a fun little horizontal boost. And then pop the landing gear. And try to reduce our overall speed. And I'm going to retract the landing gear and boost again, because I'm still going to hit the damn ground. There we go. Alright, saved it. Now I need to drop the gear to slow down again. Okay.
Landing gear
Feeling
not the cargo
distracted.
scoop, huh?
Yes.
Just because they don't get
I'm
damaged?
not sure if it makes any difference, honestly. It's a little easier the way it is on my
I think
controller.
I think it's just that you can wreck your cargo scoop and you can't wreck your landing gear, but you also can't hold trigger your landing gear, which is why I use the cargo scoop.
You also can't disable your landing gear with power management.
Yeah, right.
So certain builds, in fact, some of my ships turn off the landing gear when their weapons are deployed. Not this one.
Yeah.
Cargo scoop, yeah, sorry, which you
Yeah.
can't do. So I would always have that available as a break. Oh, my landing gear's not down. Look at me. So we're gonna sit here on the ground. Okay. Heat sinks.
Jello was talking about command saturation. I can't deal with having to turn it off and on. I just can't. I have tried so many times. I can only use it as a hold button, so I just have to hope my cargo hatch holds out long enough to keep working. Because I just can't. I'll turn it on and then I'll forget to turn it off, and I'll get completely destroyed because I'm flying with the brakes on. I have the same problem with silent running. I just can't. I can't use it on a toggle, or I will blow myself up repeatedly.
Okay.
Where
I
are
made
you?
it as-
Sorry,
as soon as I
where are
hit
you
the hold
guys?
button instead, it
We
fixed it.
are
At the
in,
invasion station on the planet Delaney.
we're at Delaney Terminal in
Cool.
Open.
I'm on my way.
Okay, so I need to school you up because you got it all wrong, my friend.
Yeah, well, that's how typical, huh?
So okay. First of all, heat sinks cost. Let's get real here.
Oh, don't go into the weeds.
No, here we go. We're gonna see my cargo hatch was disabled.
You're gonna make me look even dumber than I make myself look.
2 basic conductors, 2 heat conduction wiring. Now these are manufactured materials, which means you
Yep.
can find them in anywhere. Anywhere. They are grade 1 materials. You can trade down. You can get like 180 of them out of 1 grade 5 material if you wanted to, which are mission rewards for killing Thargoids. So eat shit. Second of all, if you're gonna fly AX, you're gonna use heat sinks. Get over the preciousness of not wanting to synth them. Now that said, I've not synthed any today because we're flying at this station and we've only fought Cyclopses. Now if there's Medusas out there, I'm not gonna land in the middle of a Medusa fight unless I'm heavily damaged and don't feel like doing the repairs, because I'll synth heat sinks even if I'm at a station. Then it's just not that big a deal. But the other thing that you said is like you use your heat sinks when you discover you're taking damage. You've drawn the arrow of causality in the wrong direction. You've waited to see the thing that you should have prevented, and then went and turned around and tried to prevent it. Right? So you need to take it the other way. And when I'm about to attack, if you're solo, you're always popping a heat sink before you start firing. And maybe what it would work is like what I'm doing in this ship. I don't leave my beams on when I'm attacking anymore, like I did with my chieftain. So I'm switching fire groups, pushing a heat sink, and going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh great! As soon as I launch, there's a goddamn surge.
And sometimes you waste the heat.
And sometimes you blow a heat sink when you didn't need to. But too bad. Oh, fuck, a second surge right then, just as I lifted off the ground. Here we go. So anyway, silent running. Okay, that's another one that you should have on an easily reachable button. Now, I don't use silent running if I don't have to, but if I'm right at the end, I know I'm like 1 or 2 shots away from taking that heart, and it's an important Thargoid, and I've just fired my last heat sink, I'll go into silent running when I hear it purge instead of firing it. Oh, we're about to land. Oops. Ow. That sucks. All right, thrusters on. Oh God, can I even get out of here? This is very disorienting. I think I'm stuck. Oh God, I'm gonna blow up.
Can I give my quick
There
how
we
I
go.
use silent running spiel while you're killing yourself?
Use silent running to protect yourself or get away. Like even if you do a perfect attack run and you kill the heart, your good standard operating procedure, go into silent running as you run away. There's no reason not to.
That was the big thing for me, that as soon as the heart's gone, there's a window during which you can trigger either a pulse or a set of caustic missiles. And as long as you're
cold,
detectable within that period, nothing bad happens. So as soon as the heart's dead, hit silent running, get 3 kilometers away, and then do whatever you want while the shield works its way back down. And if you don't, then as soon as you get back into range, you get that little caustic missile, whatever it says. Caustic missile
exactly. Like it saved it until you got in range.
Yeah, and that's something that I've noticed happens in CZs all the time, because there's so many pilots around, nobody can be careful, that there's not really any way to avoid it. You could be, again, going for quite a while and stay well far away, and the second you get above 20% and within 3 kilometers, it fires the caustic missile, because it'll hold on to it for ages. Sometimes it'll keep from shooting at other people because it's holding on to yours. They can get constipated and just hold on to one specific pilot. That's what they call it, absolutely. It loads up a set of missiles for a set of targets. And if the target goes out of range before it can fire, it'll hold on to that target until you get back in range, and then it'll fire. But in a big crowded CZ, it's kind of always going to happen. So you just kind of have to get close enough to trigger it, and then turn around and run away or zip past it or something.
Yeah, and a similar thing happens to the swarm as well. When they're agitated, they will only fire their missiles at you when you're within 3 kilometers of them. And if you're not within 3 kilometers, they will save them. And so you will get them as soon as you come back in, even if it's been quite a while. So it's like if you're inside of 3 kilometers, then you're on this like 30-second cycle.
Trax, with silent running, when you engage it, do you immediately register as 0 heat?
Yes. You have no heat signature while you're in silent running.
Yeah.
And once you're outside 3 kilometers, it no longer matters what your temperature is.
Yeah, so the 3 kilometers is the firing range and the activation range for all the special attacks. And I mean, you can do this. Like my Hydra fight, the first Hydra I soloed, is on YouTube, and that whole fight goes off without triggering any special attacks whatsoever the whole time. It actually... Oh, I have caustic. That's not fun. Yeah, it makes it almost look like it's sort of an easy fight because it doesn't use any of its strongest moves against me because it's an idiot, basically. And you can exploit that.
And because you're not in the neighborhood when they come up, yeah. Like you never trigger them in the first place because you don't stick around once you've gotten Heart down. There's that golden moment, like what, 30 seconds or something like that. I don't know how long the actual
The
window
sleep
of
phase, I
opportunity
think, is
when it makes the
35
decision.
seconds.
Yeah,
I think it's
as long
the
as you
sleep
stay away
phase.
during that.
And you can tell
And that's one of those.
it's between when the heart goes down and when it starts firing again. So if you're within range, you can tell when the sleep phase is over because the main cannon will open up again.
Which is something you'll only notice really if you're cold, because otherwise you will have triggered whatever the event is while you
Right.
were hanging out there anyway. So if you're cold and within 3 kilometers, then when it starts shooting, you know you don't have to be cold anymore. Although you still
Yeah.
do, because then it'll track you and blow you up anyway. But yeah, that's
See right
that's the
there, I
thing
didn't use
that I
any heat
missed
sinks
from-
because it wasn't facing me. It's distracted by other players, so I'm not gonna need to spend a heat sink on that. As long as I'm not firing so fast that it's gonna damage my ship. Because my weapons can damage my ship. For sure. Is there anything that I've missed that was in that chat thread earlier? If anybody has the ability to look at it right now. I think we got them all, but yeah, I knew that guy was ready to surge.
For scouts, do only berserkers fire caustic missiles, or do berserkers trigger other scouts to fire caustic missiles?
So
idea?
the second one.
That's what. So all the fancy scout variants all affect other scouts. Insiders. make
I
them a little
think so.
buff, and
I
regenerators
actually couldn't
heal
remember
them,
whether
they
it
don't
was
heal themselves,
insiders
I
or
think.
berserkers that do the missiles.
Berserkers.
Berserkers. See, I don't really know
Yeah.
them by name, but yeah, they
I
can.
think insiders give them some kind of more generic buff.
It makes
I don't know
them
if
like a
it's
20%
speed or
damage buff
damage
or
or
something.
something, yeah.
Yeah, so they do it sort of an area effect to each other.
That's always my mental process. Once you run out of interceptors in a crowded CZ, look for the regenerators, then look for the berserkers, then look for the insiders, and then
Which
stop
one
and get a
does
coffee.
they apply a shield to each other, right? Or is it just that they're regenning and I'm misunderstanding?
I'm not sure.
It looks like a shield
I feel
when
like
they
the
do it.
insiders might. I think that's the regenerators. I think the insiders might give something more than just a damage buff, but I'm not really sure. I think the regenerators just like actively repair.
They heal their
damage,
hull, so
kinda
they
like
don't
the
heal
heart
without
does.
the regenerators.
Right. Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Sometimes you see this scout that's just like, this particular scout is so damn hard to hit, and it's probably under the effects of a regenerator, and I pay very little attention to the scout, except if I see them doing anything weird. You know, if I see them flickering or making swirlies, that's my target. But other
It's
than that-
remarkable how much more difficult the scouts are in a very high difficulty
Yes,
conflict zone.
I
But
observed
you
that
get a
when I
lot
was
higher
interrogating
proportion
all
of it, and
those.
they're more aggressive.
They
There's some-
were noticeably more aggressive, and I don't detect any difference in any other CZ.
Okay, so here's a good Thargoid. I don't know if this quite counts as tinfoil hat territory or not, but
Oh, here we go.
from the beginning, there's the
Buckle up.
Yeah.
issue of looking at the markings on the interceptors, right? And they're supposed to show some level of either affiliation or rank. And so there are some who are under the impression that there are markings that indicate that a particular interceptor is of a higher level of proficiency, like elite versus dangerous for interceptors, that might have
This
some correlation to the way that
is-
they behave.
Horseshit.
I thought so.
This
But I
is
figured it was worth
pure
mentioning.
straight. I don't believe for a nanosecond that there is any difference between any markings on a Thargoid model, variant over variant.
You mean they mean anything? Or that
No,
they are
I
actually
don't
different?
believe that they are actually different. I believe there is one Thargoid basilisk model. I believe it has the exact same textures.
There's an image that shows up on the cockpit, and the little circle thing. There are 2 or 3 different variants for each of the 3 parts of the logo.
Oh,
thing
that
show
little
up.
that little icon.
Yeah, the little ideogram thing or whatever. It's supposed to
Okay,
have
so
some
it's not
kinda-
like spots on their petals or anything.
No. It's the actual
Okay.
emblem that glows on the front of the. Actually, it's not even the glowing part. I don't think you have to be pretty darn close to see it. You have to be around
Yeah.
a peaceful one really to see it.
Right.
But there's some theory that
I've seen a
heard
picture
one or
of
two
that,
people
yeah.
say that it might
That-
correspond to some level of proficiency.
Yeah. There's
That it
I
might
don't-
correspond to some like NPC AI level, you know.
I don't buy it. I've never seen a difference in level with them, and I have experienced like enraged Thargoids, but that's different. That's the same animal started acting differently because the rage timer went off, right? So this is if you don't kill a heart within a certain amount of time, it will go into a different state where the swarm instantly goes into full suicide. It deploys a new swarm right away, and it's very aggressive. It like moves at you very aggressively. And the different timers for different variants, they're, depending on what kind it is, it'll take longer or shorter. And I have seen that happen when I didn't know what I was doing, but I don't believe that there's any other difference in their behavior. Damn. Thought I was gonna get that one. Alright, surging. Safe. Yeah, that's the sort of tinfoilery that people come up with. That doesn't align with the kind of mysteries that are in this game. You know? The kind of mysteries that we know like actually turned out to be something. It just doesn't line up for me.
You mean they put in mysteries, but they don't take in the time to do graphical assets?
Well, okay, there's that, but no, I kind of just mean like they tend to be like plot things. They're not. It's not some tiny little thing like that. It's not. Well, and you know what else sets me off about this? Hopefully I'm too far away from that surge. What sets me off about this thing is that sounds like it's the sort of stuff of that one book that said that the Thargoids had like there was different factions of them or something.
Yeah.
Because that's not canon.
Got him.
You know what I mean? If it's
Yeah.
not in
Exactly.
Elite Dangerous, it's not Elite Dangerous canon. And so that's not canon. And if you go taking the books and trying to find things hidden in the game that are from the books, I don't believe it's there. I don't think that's the way they do it.
Yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree 30 years too late.
Yeah. Alright, so what's Bork saying? The canon guy spent hours trying to match those symbols to ground sites, emulated Penguin. Yeah. And sure, like, the symbol is in the game, and, you know, that could be something, but, like, having it affect their skill, I've never perceived a difference in skill or difficulty. Who is surging now?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, another... Oh, it's that one over there. You know what, I'm just gonna head over that way.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
Yeah, Emulated Penguin does a lot of AX combat and a lot of lore stuff too. He streams a lot. So
Okay, we'll go back.
that might be something, you know, that would be an interesting thing to see. It sounds like he didn't manage to match them up with anything, or I guess that would be the end of the story. And it worked.
Ta-da!
Yeah. Since the story didn't end with and it worked, I guess it didn't work. There is 4 Thargoids here right now. Or is that an Asp Explorer? Facing the wrong way. These are all Cyclops. So this is my observation for a ground base since I've been keeping track of my chart. The pay is 500,000 at the start of phase 2, just like the orbital port was. And I have not seen a single interceptor that wasn't a Cyclops all night. Which means I think we have basically the same rules as the port. Which sort of sucks, because that's the only attacked station in this system. But whatever. If AXI is targeting this one, then we'll probably be on course to finish it. Gotcha. Who's in this instance with me? Oh. Beta, Blooming, Darth. Cool. These guys don't stand a chance. I'm feeling like spreading my lever, and I'm also getting horrible frame rate right now. Which happens sometimes.
Are you in VR?
Hey, Jensen.
Last year I got
I'm off for
bored
dinner,
and
so I'm
stopped
gonna let
watching.
Jack
Oh.
take over as your Ed McMahon for the evening.
Oh, alright, you're taking off?
Yeah, I gotta go eat something. Oh,
Yep.
you guys have
Right on,
fun.
man. Yep, nice talking to you.
Cheers.
I am flying the wrong way here. Oop-a-derp. Okay. What the heck is this? Gravity wells, am I right? Holy
Hey,
cow.
0.7G is not nothing.
It is. It is not nothing. And it took 3 boosts to get out of that. I'm also, like I said, I think there's enough people in here. I see 4 other commanders besides me. Another local that I don't know personally. It's getting to the point, especially at a ground base, where I'm going to have to switch to flat screen or I'm going to run out of frames.
Right.
The performance down here is not good. That's alright. And they're surging. Alright. Shield down. Nope, not shield down.
Oops. And I'm drifting.
Are you coming out here? You said you acted like you were. There he goes. Beta flying at Type 10. Oh, there you are. You're already here. So there's at least 5 other people here with me. Where are the other Thargoids? Have they been killed? Oh wait, I see one now. I think. I thought I saw one. Ah, yes I did. There it is. Alright, well, I'm gonna keep fighting Thargoids. If anybody has more stuff they want to ask about or just talk about or whatever, feel free. Get my attention. Is there a heart exerted on this guy? Yes, there is. Oop, not anymore. You do have to pay attention to that. I want to say altimeter. It's not the altimeter I'm talking about though. That's important. It's that stripe on the side that shows my speed of travel with respect to the horizon. Because
Yeah,
you
don't
get caught
that
off
doesn't
guard
wanna
by
be
that.
0.
You don't want that down in the red zone if you're anywhere near it. Hey, buddy. See, I did not fire any heat sinks because he wasn't facing me. And
No,
I
I
was
was gonna say, am I
definitely
rubbing off?
over 20%. And
Am I rubbing off on you?
Well, he wasn't facing me. It's in a group.
Ah.
I don't
Wow.
always fire the heat, but I don't wait till I take fire. If he starts to turn, that's when I'll pop the heat sink.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm already cold by the time he turns around.
Yeah.
Alright, he's following me, slowing down. Oh, now he's pulsing after the heart's already exerted. Not great. Oh, his shield went up. I ain't got time for that. Another surge, same interceptor.
2 of them. Same time, exact same time. And somehow they got me.
Oh, I thought I saw this guy's pedal turret purple. I thought it was this one that just did his surge. I guess I was mistaken.
Well,
Oh my god, you keep putting that shield up.
Oh god. Please, engines turn on. Please. Oh dear lord. Oh, I'm alive.
Oh my god. Who is this, Halon? Commander Halon keeps turning on the shield on this Cyclops. There we go. Oh my god. He put up another panic shield. Halon is misusing the plasmas, buddy. If you can hear the sound of my voice, ease up. You're making the Cyclops invincible. Alright, what's the matter?
Let me ask you something. So Crimes Against Me says locked in my right panel. Is that because I'm in a team, or is that new with these instances? I have never seen that
Mine says
before.
off.
Mine says locked and it's grayed out. Yeah.
What was it
that
set to
about?
before you got in here?
No, that's why I was checking to make sure it was off. I don't know.
Alright, so there's 2 interceptors buzzing off way over there. I'm gonna go see them.
Weird.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm
I
trying to
have not seen
imagine, could it be that it was set one way and you took fire and
I don't
you're
know.
not allowed to change it now?
I don't know. I know that I have a Federation bounty, so I can land, but I can't repair at the station. I wonder if that has to do with it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
So these guys, so this is a behavior I've noticed since 14.2. I didn't say anything about it on the show because I sort of forgot about it, but these interceptors are fucking right off, leaving, but guess what they're chasing? That's right, HE Seekers fired by the ground base. They are going to keep chasing them, firing their main cannons at these HE Seekers until those Seekers explode, and then they will turn around and fight me. They're
Weird.
both, there's one up there, there's one right there. They're both being chased by an interceptor each. And there we go. Now he's turning around because somebody shot him with a laser. And we had to come 17 kilometers up to chase these guys down. Where the hell is the heart? Can't tell which one it is. And they set off that panic shield again.
They're wearing their Thargoid Fitbits. They're trying to get their 10,000 steps in.
Apparently.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't using heat sink. I fired one kind of late actually, and I was still at 37 heat when he turned around and I took a little bit of damage. I need to go get heat sinks anyway though, so. I'm gonna go return to base for that. Is it still say locked?
Hold on. Whoops. Yep, locked.
Wow.
Yep.
I want to update my chart. Oh, we're almost at the end, so I'll get to update it with the ending pay too. Phase 3 pay. Or I guess that'd be Phase 2 pay. Phase 3 doesn't have any pay. Alright, so... trying to get near the damn station. You get far away, it's tough to get in here and not be going too fast. Here we go. I'll manage it now. In fact, we'll just boost brake to get there. Where is my landing pad? Oop.
Nice.
What?
Got him. No, we just were able to pop that guy before his shield went up.
Sweet.
Yep.
I'm gonna see if there's any missions.
Yeah.
Maybe one for a Hydra, since there's Hydra
Did
coming up.
you guys hash it out in the show or on this stream your take on the intentional reduction of bonds?
We did hash it out on the
Yeah.
podcast.
I haven't listened yet.
I don't so much mind the intentional reduction of bonds. My problem is that these missions, the requirements to fulfill them are all still too high. They increase the pay for missions, which is great, but you know,
Yeah.
5 Medusa, I can't find 5 Medusa in a night the way they at the spawn rates they have.
This
Especially
should be a
like
week.
tonight, like this whole instance is nothing but Cyclops. So unless
Yeah.
this mission board is totally filled with kill a Cyclops, I'm not getting
Yeah.
anywhere with it. Like I'll take this Hydra
Yeah.
mission because I know there's one coming in a second. There's
I don't
probably
know.
2
I don't know.
coming.
I don't know if their server infrastructure allows for it, but the timing of missions made sense
Yeah.
up until this war broke out. And it's like, why can't you have like a 5 or 6 day window if you're asking for numbers that high?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see basically the same missions that we saw when we had incursions. You know, they weren't these like 10
Yeah.
units of a grade 5 material. It was 5 units, but it
Yeah.
was for 1 Medusa or 1
Still good.
Basilisk. And that would
Still
be
good
fine.
maths. Yeah.
You know, that would be fine. If you're paying me 10, then make me have to kill 2 Medusa or something. But like, or I don't know. I don't think it's right to have them not, you know, not spawn. Wait, there's nobody here. Is this instance done? It's not completed yet.
R is 98% full.
Yeah. Did we just discover that they haven't fixed the things getting stuck after all? Or where is there still? There was 2 interceptors over there. Everybody's coming in for a landing. The other one must have took off. Great. We might have stuck. Are you saying I have to wait 5 minutes? 5 minutes for it to complete, or is it stuck?
Ooh, this is interesting.
What now?
I landed and got out of my ship just for the view.
Yeah.
And on foot, in the on foot UI, it also tracks the bar for eliminate the Thargoid threat.
Cool.
That's interesting. That makes me think like, is that here now for future on foot stuff?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, so Darth is saying it will complete. It's just gonna take a while. So I guess the bug is that it's not spawning anything for this last few minutes. Whatever. Okay.
Wouldn't we be able to chase down that one interceptor that ran away?
Yeah, I just don't know where to look. Do you have a visual
Yeah.
on it?
No, not yet.
Because it was sort of near the one that you guys finished off. It was way up in the sky.
Yeah.
Wait, something's here. I see a portal. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this is a scout portal by the look of it. So that was a failed entrance or whatever, failed spawn.
Even the NPC dialogue says a bit too quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. This is the
Yeah,
good
you
part.
said it, buddy.
The correct usage of that line.
Yeah.
Okay. go outside my ship for a second. I don't have that night vision. Oh shoot, I'm gonna crash. No, not quite. I wasn't moving that fast. Yeah, it's eerie here without night vision on, isn't it?
Yeah.
The glow of the fire and stuff.
Yeah, these are some of the better visuals.
Yep. Yeah, I would not mind daylight. I prefer at these things because then I don't have to use night vision. But
Yeah.
I see something.
what?
I targeted something 12 kilometers away from me. It's an intercept.
That's an interceptor.
All right, there he is. I'm looking in your direction. Oh, I see it. Okay, great. The lost interceptor is found. This is a wing mission for Hydra too, so everybody gets paid.
First arc town.
Kill it, kill it, kill it. There we go. All right. Here's the 2 Hydra. Okay, 20 million. And 2 Hydra just arrived. Heads up.
It's a Hydra. Hit it with everything you've got.
You guys see him yet? We're pretty far out. Keep them away from the ground. I'll do my best, but I don't always get to decide where a Hydra go. Interested to see this phenomena, though. All right, there's their
Up
pulses.
and down by the station.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Try to draw one of them up, just one. Wait, another pulse? Yep, there goes the second one. Oh, one of them's farther away. Can we... Wait, is there 3?
I got eyes on one and targeted it.
There's only 2 bars. There's
No, there's
another
something else.
interceptor here, though. There's a non-Hydra interceptor in the instance.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah.
it targeted.
It's got 3 of them.
That's not
Weird.
awesome. I don't love that. One
Should we just
Cyclops,
pop
2
it quick?
Hydra. Yeah, let's melt this Cyclops, I guess.
Yeah.
Are our Cyclops gonna just keep coming? Fuck it, let's ignore it. Who cares about a Cyclops?
Okay.
All right. Audaxius, you're right there. Pick a target.
Yep. This guy picked me.
Okay. They're very close to each other. I don't want to have both of their attention if we can help it. The other one looks like he went into the ground. Yep, the other Hydra went into the ground. Great. Fantastic. Alright, and he came back. Oh, this is fun.
You ever seen Tremors? This is gonna work out for us.
I don't have the ability to be quiet enough to deal with that. Alright. This is too close to the ground. I cannot
Yeah.
exert a heart on a Hydra this close to the ground.
Orbiting
here
is
we go.
gonna be
Fly
a
up, fly up, fly up.
bitch.
Alright, that's right, buddy. Leave the ground. There you go. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Exerted. turned away. Reloading. Got it. Think you're so tough. All right, hardest one down. Well, actually, second hardest one down.
What's the hardest one?
The second heart, because he has lightning now.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fly toward the ground. I just needed to buzz him to get past the lightning. Ooh, he's quick. All right. I'm gonna resupply one of my launchers. Still got a lot of exerting to do. Alright, we're in a good spot. 30k up. Let's get them, boys. Shields 30%. Boy, this luxurious scanner.
Yeah, it's for the sake of target practice, I've been getting scans out on a Costa heatsink, but I like the extra visual cue.
Okay, don't worry about that surge. Shield is down. Lay into him. Almost there. Exerted. Missed me. Heart down. Great job. Only spent 2 heat sinks on that one. This is when it's good to still have your repairs about you, because they're a long way from the station and it's not convenient to go back. And in fact, I have not been paying attention to my modules this whole session. Oh, Daxius, I think I can hear your mouse.
My mouse?
Or something. I hear like clicking.
Oh, I gotta up my sensitivity. That's my Xbox controller.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Alright, let me, well...
No, you're alright, don't worry about it.
Next shield I will...
If you have time to fart around at some point, feel free to... But Type 10 is just chewing on it. It's beta, I think.
Is it exerted yet?
Right now, just exerted.
There it is.
I don't have a good angle on it. No. Ah. It'd do good to shoot it from the side. Shit. See, I just burned a heat sink thinking he was turning toward me when he was not. Ugh, he's being really difficult with this one. I think it retracted. There it is again. Two sinks left. Oh shoot. And just boop to the Hydra. We didn't get a heart and he put a shield up. The hell?
Let's drop it quick.
Yeah, so we missed the exertion at this point. Oh god. I just got Hydra Caustic. That was bad news. And I'm totally out of heat sinks. I might just go repair the ship.
Is Hydrocaustic worse?
Yes.
Much.
Stronger Interceptor's missiles are way stronger caustic. It dropped me 10% in about 3 seconds. Okay, the Hydra's still right down there at the station. The other one. And new interceptors are being attacked by the people who are down here. Trick is to slow the hell down.
Ooh.
Oh no, I'm gonna crash. Oh, I blew up.
Oh?
Yeah, I crashed into the ground. I was trying to be pretty aggressive landing and did not boost in the right direction to slow down. Well, no more limpets for me. So we're doing this the new limpet freeway.
Yeah, I did it out.
This is
6%.
with Thargoids. If we don't push them back, we'll be overrun.
4%. There it is.
Taking off.
Good to have you on the team. Let's kill some Thargoids.
Oh no. I think my game crashed. Yup. Game crash. Back in a
Bummer.
sec. That sucks. You got a green crash at the same time? Or do you mean you physically crashed into the ground? Oh, I see what's going on. Couldn't see that chat message because my whole everything crashed out. Okay, here we go. Loading back in. Okay, can get a wing invite when you're ready.
This system is crawling with Thargoids. If we don't push them back, we'll be overrun. Think you can handle it?
There you go.
All three of you hit me.
Oh, I love you.
Uh-oh, I'm in the wrong instance. I booted up into a different instance from you guys. So I'll jump to cruise and back.
Y'all are almost 50 kilometers above ground.
It's a good place to be with the Hydra.
That's true.
Pain to get up and down, but... I'm not sure I can actually drop on your team signal. I did an emergency stop as close as I could to you guys, and it worked. Alright, looks like we got no shield. Ready to go. We're so far away from the planet, night vision can't see it. It's like fighting in space with no stars. Oh shoot, I'm gonna get the lightning for sure. Oh, maybe not. There it is. Show me your face, baby. Hey! Got it. I didn't hear the roar, but I see the heart floating off. Another one just came out? No shield? There's the shield.
I got in under the shield.
Very
Hit me
delayed
with the
shield.
lightning.
Oh, okay.
He hit me with the lightning and I was at point blank range, so I just kind of...
Uh-oh. You just got 4 missiles.
Ah, shit.
You need to clear that right now.
Frameshift anomaly detected. Energy surge detected.
That's not near us, I guess. So that symbol that you were talking about that's on their cockpit, is that the symbol that's here on the scanner?
Yes.
But I was told that they are different, like there are different symbols within the same variant. According to the tinfoil ray that Boobtron was spouting. Shield down. Shit, shit, shit. Oh, he missed me. Just barely missed me with that missile. Ooh, that was frightening. Somebody else is bringing another interceptor near us. Odd.
Whoa. Got a couple seconds of about 3 frames a second. And oh, get away, get away, get away.
Damn, he totally left. Here we go, facing me. Hard out. Whoever brought that interceptor up to us and then had it fire off an energy surge needs to learn what the hell is going on in this instance. Did it just shut you guys all down?
Yep.
I managed to get my keep from shutting down.
I'm jousting him. Bad orbit. Re-exerted. Heart down. Well, that was most of my heat sinks. Need to refill those. At least a couple of them. I guess that one. Looks like 3 hearts remain.
Yeah.
The AI brought up the Cyclops. Oh, I think whatever it is dead now. Looks like it, anyway. I think you finished it off. %, about to drop. Exerted. Let's get blooming wind again.
Did I take out the heart?
Nope.
Damn it.
God damn it. Just can't get him to stop arcing away from me. Hydra spin move. Re-exerted. This gravity is really messing with me. I keep getting caught straight down and I can't get back into position. Oh, I guess the heart went down. Shield is up. Oh, hit my microphone. What's the surge? What?
There's a surge of some form.
Oh, our altitude's dropped quite a bit, so maybe it's down there, I guess. Shield dropping. Oh, that exerted quick. He just zooms away from me so fast. Got it. Well, that's the second. That's the last heart. Watch for the surge. Guess we managed it. Cannons back up. Check your heat sinks. Is it down?
Yep.
I think it's down. All right. Missiles out. No. Yep. Missiles, missiles, missiles. Okay. Let's go get his brother. All right, so 500,000 at phase 1, 20 million at phase 2, and then we'll see what we get at the end of this. And I'll have all the, oh yeah, that's a better idea. To get right down to where we want it to be very quickly by going into Super Cruise.
I gotta go reload and I can't do it here.
Oh.
That bounty. Yep.
Phase 3, another 50 million for killing them? That's very high. That's very high. Oh.
Flight assist.
The system is crawling with Thargoids. If we don't push them back, we'll be overrun. Think you can handle it? Good to have you on the team. Let's kill some Thargoids.
Okay. Where's that other Hydra? There he is. Hey Hydra. Hey buddy. Follow me. I have his attention. I'm gonna kite him. Couple of dozen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What?
Planet is screwing with me. I got close. I got inside a cannon range of this Hydra while I was kiting it. And I was like about to go, oh, let's start an attack run, and then I did not do the right thing. Alright. Not moving at the correct speeds. There we go. He's reloading now. That's about right. Okay, maybe now we'll try it. God damn, this gravity is such a pain.
How many G's is this planet?
0.7 about.
Yeah, the logos on this Hydra and the previous Hydra are different.
Yeah, I see that. Interesting. Only got 4 heat sinks left. There we go, exerted it. That was my last heat sink. I gotta back off. He's all yours. I'm almost out of ammo anyway. Oh well, I did some heart damage.
It's down to 74.
I'm gonna try something dumb, guys.
What's that?
You'll see when I show back up again. Oh.
Have no atmosphere. And I think the heart kind of did its little heart thing.
Heart did its heart thing? What does that mean?
Or like it like reabsorbed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did. When I backed off, it did.
Yeah.
That's why I left.
Okay. Now I'm falling apart.
Beta's down here. Apparently did not follow us back up to the other Hydra. Come on, man. Everybody accept that mission. I'm gonna turn it in here in a second.
I accepted it.
How come? Okay, my mission apparently did not complete, even though we killed a Hydra. So, that's always fun. Guess that bug still exists. Okay. Coming back up. There's other people in the instance, but nobody else fighting the Hydra, I guess. They're all screwing around with. They're all screwing around with the other interceptors. Oh, never mind. Darth is screwing around with other interceptors. My bad. I have to go higher to find the Hydra.
I said there was gonna be something screwy.
No, that was Audaxius. I think he's probably changing to some dumb ship.
Oh God. My
So
reputation
stupid.
precedes me.
You're gonna dig out a Hexagos gunship, aren't you?
No, I'm gonna dig out a Hexa multi-cannon cutter,
Oh Jesus.
but I'm right here already. I built the thing. This is a Hydra. I have to see if how much time I
Alright.
wasted.
I'm almost there. Back to you again. Oh, Beta made it back up. All right, so now we've got the firepower again. It's not just all on a couple of people. All right, let's exert this damn heart again. Exerted. Got it. All right, one down. Trying to fly up and pulse, so I'm keeping it away. Oh. Shield down. Percent, 2%, got it. And I overheated myself like a moron. Shoot. He got me. See if I can make him pay for it. Get retracted right in front of me. Here we go. Bring it down. There we go, we got it. That was a lot of fire.
And he cracked my canopy.
Don't suppose you have a repair limpet or an AFM.
I do not. But I will in the future now.
Yeah. Repair limpets will top off your canopy, and an AFM can fix them as well.
And synthesize some limpets.
Yeah, that would do it. I'm almost inclined to do that too, actually. Be able to stay up here longer. Oh, my modules are hurt.
But that costs materials.
Yeah. Plenty of that. Plenty of that do I have. Of course, I have an AFM too, so it's a little easier for me. %. Here we go. Exerted.
They'll repair it if my canopy's blown out.
No. Yeah. If it's blown out, you're done. You gotta land.
Okay.
Shit, retracted. Out of sinks. Come on, come on. Hey, good shot, good shot. Alright. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy 4 limpets out of my materials so I can stay up here longer. I'm not gonna need ammo for a while. Might even synth ammo. It's a pain to go all the way down there.
The great thing is Cutter can still run the missiles.
That it can do.
Mm-hmm. I just had to take that Class 5 stabilizer out for a run. But the Hydra Hearts are strong.
Yeah. I don't
Very
think,
strong.
I don't think 6 of those has the DPS to make an impact there. Oh, you are shooting at me. Wait, why do I see a red triangle?
Did you run into someone?
No, it's somebody with yellow beams. Commander Lan. They are from Squadron TCC-2. And they are apparently hostile to me. So, that's fun. Didn't run into anybody to my knowledge. Okay, that shield is down. It's time to go. Exert it. Damn it. Come on, turn around. Just the ability to just rotate so it's always on the opposite side of him from me, you know? A complete asshole. Thargoid.
Taking damage. Under attack. Heatsink deployed.
Gravity took me out of range again. Deserted.
Heatsink deployed. Decontamination. Heatsink deployed.
Come on.
Decontamination. Temperature critical.
It's down. Finally blue.
Heatsink deployed. Decontamination complete. Target shields online.
Okay. Took a little damage.
Grabbing the Pedro. Breach anomaly detected.
Resupply sinks, etc., etc. I can't hear you. Really quiet for some reason. Shield is down. Exerted. Whoa, what was that? You see him spin just then? That was insane. Oh, the rubber band. It's still happening.
Whoa.
Boy, I would not want to solo one of these at a planet. Jesus. Every once in a while I just end up, it must be that I end up boosting straight down and I can't recover for like a full minute. Get back to you guys. Trying to solo orbit this. I mean, I did that first heart, but boy was it a pain in the ass. Missiles. Shield down. Good shooting. Two more. You know, I was thinking, have you guys seen any stations under attack that aren't Coriolis? Like any full-size stations that are Ocellus or something?
Not yet. So does that mean those are only in higher population systems? Because everything's been on the fringe so far.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know if there's any association between that. That was random.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, how are they only hitting systems that don't have other types of stations so far? But maybe that's got something to do with it? I mean, I assume they would have made the damage models for all of them back when the war started, right? Or did they plan so well that they are... I mean, they say they have no control of which systems they're going to go into, so...
Well, but they also said the Thargoids have a secret agenda, so the secret agenda is adhering to wherever we can provide the graphical assets.
The secret agenda is nothing but Coriolis, nothing but stations that are Coriolis stations.
Every ship has a damage model. Oh no, the only ship with a damage model is the Anaconda.
Yep. Alright, the shield is down. That's out. I feel like I can hear you talking, but it's like too quiet. I can't make it out. I'm sorry.
It's not me. I think it's Blooming Wind.
There we go. Heart down. All right, watch out for the surge on this one, if it happens. Ooh, I am getting tailed hard. Alright, let me look. Do I have you turned down or something? No? I can put you up at 200%.
I can hear him talking to you in the
I was able to
background.
hear you before.
Well, it's not me talking, it's Blooming Wind.
No, I know. I mean, Blooming Wind. I
Yeah.
could always hear him before.
Yeah. He might
That's so weird. It's
be-
like barely murmuring.
Yeah.
Alright, I think something's up. I'm gonna turn him back down because whenever you figure out, it's gonna blow everything up. Oh, I'm almost out of ammo. That's alright. We can finish this off with.
Oh, I can
30
always ram
rounds.
him.
Yeah, we can. We can always.
Class 9
Actually,
hard point on the cutter.
not the best time to ram when you don't have shields, but hey.
I'm fully shielded, man. I've only taken 6% hull this whole fight. That also means because I'm probably not that much of a threat. But I have seen them drop the hearts by single percentage points.
Yep.
There you go.
Alright, shield down. Exerted. And he zooms away from me. Yep, I'm going straight down toward the planet again, totally losing range, like an idiot.
Is there a reason I can't lock onto the station? Like, you know how like it has like a little green dot and like a green square, and you can click on it, and then you can have I don't see any contacts.
Well, we're much too far away.
I'm right above it. I had to
Oh.
had to bail.
Oh, I don't know then.
That's weird. Like I'm like 4 kilometers above it.
There we go.
You can't get it in, it should be the top thing in contacts.
No, I know.
Wait, I can even get it from here even though I'm 23 away. There, get my target.
Oh, I see it, and it's white.
White, huh? Oh, that's not correct. Shield is down. Finish her. Oh, it's done. She done. Alright, so that's both. So that should complete the bonus for this instance. What's it gonna be? It's not gonna make my bars go away. Looks like this science we will not receive. Oh well, I think my mission's completed. Nope, my mission did not complete. Kill 1 Hydra didn't complete.
The eliminate 2 Hydra did.
Yeah, the one shared by somebody else
Yep.
did, which means I can't stack the missions, which is why we shouldn't share them until the kill's already been done. Oh well.
Yep.
Somebody's attacking me.
Who is?
Somebody,
A scout.
Ow.
Oh lord.
Oh, my sensors are dead. That's why.
Oh, yep, that will do it.
Yep.
If you don't have an AFM and they're actually dead, then you need to do a
repair.
reboot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna dock.
The reason the
So-
mission board's inaccessible?
The mission board is not inaccessible. You just have a bounty, remember?
Well, it says unlocked, and I pull it up, and it flashes, and then backs back out. Huh.
Okay, well, I've been using the mission board.
Yep.
So I think,
about you?
Darth, that was your mission, right? The 2 Hydras mission? I think that was his. Yeah.
100%.
So in the future, we should don't share it until it's complete. That way we can stack them. It's not a big deal. It is a dumb way that this game works, but you know, that is what
DFG
we've come
mates.
to learn. Yep.
Yep.
Well, I never saw the instance complete, which is annoying. Because I don't know, like I still have the destroy the Hydras bars are still there, so that part of it, I guess, I don't know, because I could wait around for a while or something. Do we have to kill the other interceptors that are here? I guess there's a couple more. Maybe there's a couple more Cyclops. If we kill them, they'll be done.
Yeah, that's got to be it for me, though.
Okay.
Yep. Happy hunting, fellas. Happy sciencing. Mm-hmm.
I would like to get that number, so I will stick around for a second at least and try to smoke whatever's out here if I can find it. Is there anything? I don't see anything.
What'd you say?
I'm looking around to try to see if there's more, if there's another interceptor, and maybe that's why it's not completing, but I don't see it. Something in this direction. Oh, that's a scout. Well, not completely fixed, AF Dev. Hey, Volt. Oh well. It's not gonna complete. I'm gonna call it a night.
Past your
Done.
bedtime anyway.
It is. It's late. It takes a long time to do one of these instances when they only produce Cyclops. Jeez, does it take a long time to fill the bar?
Yeah, there were a bunch of There was a Medusa the other night. Not a bunch
At
of
this
Medusas.
station?
No, it was at the starport.
Yeah, the Coriolis stations produce a mix, but it seems like outposts and ground stations seem to have a very, very low spawn rate of non-Cyclops interceptors. Or at least the ones I've been at lately. I don't know if it's different for some of them, but oh well. Alright, I'm out of here.
You have a good night.
Yep, see you later. I'm gonna route to my carrier. And we'll say goodnight to stream. Good night, everybody.